So after Art of the State, which we don't know how successful that was or not, we get probably next year we get Reconstructions, AD's Reconstructions, and again from the same pile that this comes from. You ever had these people? Must have been Kansas fans were sitting probably. AD Reconstructions, I put it in, immediately liked it. Like I said, it didn't stick with me a lot as Art of State was, because there's so much things going on. Art of State, it's new. It was new kind of music for me, but there is some good songs that I really like on Reconstructions. All Fall Down is not an original concept at all. And some of us will think of the All Fall Down 77s and things like that. It comes to mind. Life of Crime and No Standing kind of goes back to Dust in the Wind feel to it. And the reason I bring these up, because this is the reason why the album didn't stick with me, because there really, a lot of songs were not as original to me as Art of State was. But then Exiles come out. I really like Exiles. Exiles was a idea where it's talking about comparing Christianity to being aliens, and it's got a really good riff for keyboard on there that really hooks you, and I love it. There's certain parts of the bridge, and it's one of the songs that, you know, in the future I plan to cover because I like it. It's one of my favorite. It's going to be one of my. It is one of my favorite songs. We Draw the Line is very hardcore for that time. Not many people were talking about it, and and for me being a fundamental Christian, I am quite surprised that you hear something like this, because during this time most Christians were kind of getting this whole thing, if we all join together everything's going to be good. But he's talking about things like people joining together for the wrong reasons, like, one world religion, not a good thing. And he really, and it's a very, very, a lot of people might not like it because it tells the truth of what the Bible talks about, about us joining together is not always a good thing. Walking the Wire kind of goes more onto that as well. You Are the Distance, to me, again, goes back to Led Me to the Reason and songs like that from Art of the State. But again, it's very listenable. Highway to the Heart and One Golden Thread, again, is songs to me that go back to Led Me to the Reason. Because Led Me to the Reason is a really good song, and they kind of follow that formula with You Are the Distance and One Golden Thread. And One Golden Thread's got a lot of lyrics, and it's very punchy, like Led Me to the Reason lyrically. The thing is I like about AD, I think more, because even though Art of the State is more musically different and a lot of risk and progressive involved in it, what that Reconstruction lacks musically, they pick up vocally. John Elefante is, of course he's not on this, at this time is doing Kansas. and does really well vocally. This is a Reconstructions. That's how good the vocals are to me. Vocals can really save an album. And I think vocally this album is saved because of the vocals. Because when you take songs like One Golden Thread and You Are the Distance, which are not really hard rock songs, but they make you emotionally inclined because you have this good vocalist. To me, I think he does as well as John Elefante does on his. Because to me, John Elefante is one of the best vocalists I have ever heard in this lifetime.
I agree.
And they really keep your attention with that vocally to try to bring that a lot of that emotions in there. But like I said, when I first heard Reconstruction, this is great. I liked it and everything. But after listening to Art of the State, it was kind of like, it kind of, Art of the State lasts longer with me. Musically, vocally, lyrically, and all things, because they put a lot of risk. And the thing is about Art of the State, I'll be honest with you, there's not any other Christian music that could compare with Art of the State at this time. Because like I said, Branded doesn't come until what? But comes out at the same time. It's pretty good, but if you take the keyboards of Ojo Taylor versus Michael Gleason is a better keyboard player. And Michael Gleason, when he goes into that dark area, he really goes and takes you in there with his keyboards. And whereas Ojo Taylor, they're more simplistic, but it's got the same hardcore message. But musically, this is far superior. And that's the problem I had with Reconstruction. As much as I like it lyrically, a lot of it musically is taken from this. Because what they already established from this. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, they took more risk on this than they did this. And I think it pays off in the long run because you want to go back to those songs and listen to them. And there you have it. That's Reconstructions. What do you think of Reconstructions in your opinion?
Oh, well, I agree. A lot more songs that seem to come off of off of Art of the State. But this is their. To be honest, the AD albums here. These are basically them. You go and look at the discography, and the other ones are actually considered more Kerry's albums, even though they sometimes will carry AD's title. It was kind of I think it was kind of a different thing for Kerry to get into all this. Anyways, he'd been in the secular industry, and he was immediately shocked to find how different this industry is. You just at this time it's still a fledgling industry. Most people will say that the industry really didn't start until about 1977. So at the time Reconstruction comes out, it was 10 years old. Whereas if you're in the secular industry, it goes way back. You can probably take it back as far as maybe the 20s or 30s. And you had, and then you had people that were already doing magnificent things like Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra and some of those others that were really doing some outlandish things even in those early days. But then he comes over to the Christian industry and he finds that it's not as I guess accessible. Having to do a lot of things that normally he would have taken for granted. That has to be kind of done yourself. For instance, on the album Reconstruction, it's produced by Kerry Livgren. If you don't know what production means, it means he probably put a lot of money up for it. Whereas when you say production by somebody else, it's somebody else doing it. Another thing I will say about the story of Kansas and AD is is also the John Elefante connection. John Elefante, like again, he's not on these albums, but he's in Kansas while Kerry's not. And finding that he's still writing Christian lyrics. One of my, one of my favorite Kansas songs during John's time is Play the Game. And it talks about how he gets up on stage and it's a game. And which at that time Kerry probably was not thinking that it was a game because it was hard work. These guys sacrificed.
Yeah.
Kerry would have sacrificed to make these albums instead of staying in Kansas. But anyway, another connection, like I said, with Christian music and John Elefante is not that he eventually became a solo singer. No, Petra was produced. And again, there's that word, produced, by the Elefante brothers, John and Dean.
Well, they came in 80s.
Yeah, that would have been during this time.
Yeah, and late 80s. Like that's the whole thing. That he didn't really come in. Well, no, these are mid 80s. I would call them. Okay, so he didn't really come later. So the thing is about with Petra's success, I don't know if they're really you could pinpoint